We got to get into this USA basketball because, as we all know, the Olympics is officially over. We do know that the USA ended up with the most overall medals, and I believe did they tie in gold medals,
Ty.
or did they get
Yeah,
40? They tied with
they
China
tied
in
it.
gold
Hmm.
medals at 40. Um, Unfortunately, they couldn't get that 41. I don't know who to blame yet. Still
Four by
trying to pick
one.
and
Four by one.
choose.
Noah Lyles. Noah
Get the,
Lyles. 4x1.
we could go the men's 4x1. We could go Noah Lyles
Hmm.
200 meter. We could go. Nah, see, I like her, so I'm not gonna do her like that.
Put it all
Um,
on Noah Lyles. Put it all
but
on
as
him.
we know, let's start with the men's first. As we know, USA beat France 98-87, I believe. Just give me your overall thoughts on the game. What were you thinking as you were sitting there watching the game, and then what were you thinking when they ended up winning? Jay, I'm gonna start with you first.
Yeah, I think overall, Britt, the game was a lot more competitive than maybe I thought it would be after just watching a little bit into the first quarter. I felt like this was a game that we would kind of break away and get away from them in the second half, and that just really never happened. Obviously, with France playing on their home soil with the crowd behind them, I certainly think that energized them and helped them play maybe a little bit more than maybe a little more capable than maybe people thought. But at the end of the day, for me, like it was about Steph Curry, man. The last two games, really, when it was close, Steph is the one that kind of rose above everyone else, took the game over. And when
Mhm.
Steph gets it going like he did toward the end of that game, man, there's nothing like it in sports. I mean, when he gets that three ball going and he's shooting them up and he knows they're going in, we know they're going in. I mean, it's just incredible to watch. So I feel like Steph deserves a lot of credit on a team full of superstars. For him to be the one to kind of separate himself, I thought that was really impressive.
Yeah. Another another nail biter once again. This one was a little bit more annoying because I felt like they should have went in there and I'm not going to say quite dominated them, but I don't think it should have been as close as it was. The
Right.
turnovers, and granted, like they said, they only have a couple weeks of really playing with each other. As far as the other guys on the other teams, they have months of playing with each other on the court. So they have more of a better chemistry and feel for each other's game. But it was a little frustrating at times. It was a little frustrating. I felt like it was a lot of that they had to get away from that one-on-one type of basketball really in that first half. Um, but when they finally did, when this thing started to connect a little bit more, you could see, how dominating this USA team can be. But at the end of the day, we won. I was happy, and I said we behind it. um, and I was happy. But just like you said, Jay, when Steph gets going, there is no stopping him. When he put up that one shot and two guys was dead smack in his face, and he had to rainbow shot it over top, I was like, there's no way that's going in. And next thing you know, it goes in. And the crazy part was when I seen the video of the French commentators, and they was like, "This is not fair. This is not fair. Who is this guy, and how is this even possible that he's capable of doing this?" But Steph Curry is just another monster, and like he said, night night, and that's exactly what happened. But
And
okay,
you
what
know what was
you
funny
said,
about
Jay?
that, Britt? Like he had KD wide open to his left,
Yep,
Ron
yep,
wide open to his right, and he was like, he didn't even think about giving the
Nope.
ball up, you know?
yo,
So
he
that was
he was
just
too
funny.
high. He
Yep.
was
Yeah.
too much on fire. But K, what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys mentioned, and just to add on a little bit, yeah, I just love the way that they played together mostly, and they all came together, and you saw that they you know, we didn't see that all star type, the all star type team that we usually see during the All Star break, and guys doing this and making fantastic passes, behind the back passes, and crazy shots. Even though Steph Curry's shots made him look crazy, they're routine for him, believe it or not. But yeah, just the determination that you saw on those guys' faces, especially LeBron. Man, LeBron really came out and he was determined, to lead this team, to gold. I mean, not so much. I don't
Hmm.
think he was thinking about the naysayers and the comparisons to the original dream team. I think he truly wanted to win this for the country, for for his country and get behind them. And I think that France and Jay mentioned it, that the French crowd was behind these guys, and they were energizing Wembanyama and those guys. And there's some junk talking going on here. Even though they speak different languages, there's that night stuff, and that's low. You too small for me. That's universal talk, so the universal language.
Yeah.
So they all knew what they were saying there. So I just love the way that they came together. Very energized, and Steve Kerr, came together. I saw even Eric Spoelstra come in there sometimes and kind of not override him, but listen, I know we got to do this, or we got to go here, we got to go there. And you had mentioned it earlier, Britt, and you actually mentioned it in the in our thread too while the game was going on. Is that enough with the one-on-one basketball? Let's play as a team, move the ball. Things of that nature, and that's what they started to do. They started to move the ball. They rode the hot hand, obviously, with Steph. Guys started to play defense. France. Hats off to France, though. They did come to play.
Yeah.
They fed off of that the energy of the crowd. One guy went for the king, and he did not miss. With LeBron, that dunk over LeBron. So LeBron's got to live that down for me. I know they talked about that a lot, but he could swallow it now because they brought home the gold. But overall, just a fantastic group effort. All Eagles were aside, without question. And there was one part of the whole thing that was not on the field. I mean, on the court, but they were in a hotel or something like that. That the accommodations weren't up to their standards, so they all pulled their money together. You hear that? They all pulled their money together to get a better venue. Like, come on, like LeBron couldn't have just pay for the whole thing, or KD. I mean, but that's what they said. They all pulled their money together to get better accommodations, to get away from everything. And so that right there says a lot for that particular team and the togetherness, that they were all a part of, and they were all committed to.
Yeah, and I love the fact that when you're watching the USA team, for the most part, everybody understands that you can't be the star player. You gotta put your ego to the side. You may not get playing time. JT's mom had an issue with it, but she had a major issue with it. But besides that, and some guys actually appreciate it because it's like they're playing ball, they're having fun, but they don't have to do it all, which is exciting. But they came together, they got it done. And I was excited. I have another question pertaining to this, but I do want to give a shout out real quick to a couple of our comments. What's going on, Greg?
What's up, Greg? What's going
your brother as always.
And then we got Motor City Roar podcast. That's Chris. What's going on, Chris? Please subscribe, to his podcast. It's awesome. He's big time Detroit Lions guy, and he talks about NFL and Detroit Lions. So please go subscribe to that.
Okay. Well, he definitely don't like me as a 49er fan right now.
Oh, don't get him started. Please don't get Chris started.
We spotted him.
He'll go in on us. But going back to USA basketball, they ended up, I guess it was FIBA or International Basketball, FIBA, I believe, ended up stating that LeBron James was named MVP. Do you agree that he was MVP for the game? K-Walk?
For the game, no, absolutely not. I thought they were going to say maybe for the Olympics. He definitely has a strong case for MVP talks there. But as far as the game, absolutely not. Not even the last two games. I mean, if you look at the game against what was it? Who they played before they? Who they played before? I forget who they played to get
Serbia?
into the Serbia. Yes, I'm sorry. So even that game when Steph had 34, 36 points there, and then what he did in the gold medal game, no, absolutely not. I mean, there should have been Steph Curry without anyone being questioned. I think Halliburton was tied with LeBron James in second place votes, in my opinion. And Halliburton didn't even play, so that's how much I thought that Steph Curry should have put.
You know what? And that was my mistake. It was for the tournament. It was for the tournament.
All right, that's a horse of a different color. Now he definitely has an argument there. So let me retract. He definitely has an argument there. I think I still would have gave it to Steph because of the quarterfinal game, the semifinal game, and obviously the gold medal game. But Do I have a problem with it? No, I don't, to be honest with you, because of what LeBron did up until that point, leading those guys, in assists, rebounds. I think he was up there in scoring as well. I think he was leading the league. I mean, leading the team in scoring. But I don't have a problem with it, Britt. I don't. I can hear both sides of the argument, but I don't have a problem with that. I'm going with him and for the Olympics. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Jay, do you think he should have been MVP for the tournament?
Look, to K Walk's point, you can certainly see how someone could make a case for it, especially early in the tournament. He certainly was the leader of that team, did a lot of facilitating, did his fair share of scoring. There were even times when they were struggling where LeBron was that guy that sort of put the team on his back, made a lot of great flashy plays. But for me, it like when the money's on the line, to me that's when it really counts. And K Walk talked about how well Steph played in those last two games, elimination games, where look, you got to win or you're going home. And the pressure that was on the US to bring home a gold medal. Like nothing less than gold was going to be enough. So to me, the way Steph played those last two games was enough for him to be the MVP, regardless of LeBron's leadership and how well he played early. For me, when the money's on the line, that's when it really counts. And Steph was the guy that separated himself.
Yeah, if I didn't make it clear, my vote would have been for Steph, even for the Olympic MVP. But I'm okay with LeBron. I don't have an argument with LeBron being that guy.
Yeah, I don't have a necessary argument for LeBron. Look, I give him credit for leadership. I think leadership is just as important a lot of times as on-court play as well. But I can't deny Steph. Steph came up in the biggest moments for us to even get to the gold and win to the gold. Remember, we were down 15 against Serbia, 17 against Serbia. And if it wasn't for Joel, KD, and Steph, once again at the end of the game, we probably don't win that game, and the same thing against France. If it wasn't for Steph at the end of the game with France, he just got hot out of nowhere. We probably don't win that game, and then we're just having a whole nother conversation. I have a lot of respect for LeBron, but me personally, he's not my MVP. He's not my MVP. Motor City Roar said KD should have been MVP.
I think KD had some moments, but
yeah,
and he was great, when he first came back, and he had some moments, but I don't see how you could take him over Steph, or even LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron. That's what I say. Or LeBron too.
Yeah, I think that's and I think KD was important in that very first game. I can't remember who was the first game against Serbia too. I can't remember, but that very first game where he came in and we were struggling a little bit. And he came in and made some very timely buckets for us to get us the league, and all of a sudden we just took off and destroyed them. So there were again, like you guys said, some moments in there, but I think when it comes down to it, for me, it was probably Steph. And I know Steph struggled in a lot of the games, as far as the shooting aspect. But what can you say? It's like literally, what can you say with this guy? So, any final thoughts?
No. I think I do want to let Motor City get the rest of his thought out because this is kind of what he was thinking about KD.
He said, no disrespect to Steph, but he was only there the last two games. KD was a bucket the whole tournament, consistent and efficient. You know what, though? I'm sitting there thinking about it. I think that KD, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, KD does have a valid argument. And I'll say that because you guys know I'm a defensive person. And I felt like KD stepped up defensively, one of the better defensive players on this team every time he came into the ball. Man, he was up in the personal space of whoever he was defending. So, and then when we did need it, he did make a bucket for us. So, you know what? I'm not going to change my answer. I still think it's Steph, but I will put him in the conversation. You know how we got the GOAT conversation? He'll be in the conversation, the MVP of the tournament.